Hello everybody, welcome to our latest podcast. We are back, it's August. We're going to be looking at the pre-season transfers and we're outside of Filthy's on the nice sunny day. We're probably going to get asked by some random for 20 pence, but we'll crack on with it. I am joined by the usual contests? Hosts, people slash presenters and so on, and a friend of the channel which I'm sure you'll know. I'm just going to quickly do the intros and then we're going to be talking about the transfers in, speculation, transfers out, speculation of transfers going out, and then we're going to be talking a little bit about the pre-season and then just a couple of players who have impressed over pre-season as well. So I'll hand you over to Will.
Alright, well, he's just given away who's the first one. Hi everyone, Will, second presenter from Newcastle Fans TV, well, just one of the presenters of Newcastle Fans TV.
Hi, it's Alicia, another presenter from Newcastle Fans TV.
Hi there, Sharky from 100% NUFC. I do reviews, previews, vlogs and all the news, so check out my channel and subscribe.
Chapman, thank you very much. Right, so let's crack on with it. So I think we're going to start with Christian Atsu deal that was done pretty quick. What we'll do is we'll go around the table and we'll just literally talk about it and what you feel about the buy, and don't really talk too much about pre-season because we'll come back to that and who players will buy. So I'll start on me as well. I've got the mic. So I was 50-50 on this. Will, I think me and you had that conversation about me a few times about it. I was like, really? I think it's because we were going to go to the Premier League, and back then we thought we had plenty of money, and I was like, yes, it's cheap, 6 million, but I was 50-50 and he had a lot of proof, and I was like, we've got Rolando Aarons. Is he any better than Rolando Aarons? I thought, no, he's pretty much on the same wavelength personally. But you know, we'll talk about it later on in pre-season, but he's swinged it a little bit, but I'm still sitting on the fence with this one. Will, Atsu?
I thought it was completely sensible and logical to get him in, to be honest, for especially low sum of money, especially in comparison to even Jacob Murphy. Jacob Murphy was double the money, I think. We had him on a season. I thought he generally did well. He's definitely not the finished article, but as the minimum of squad player, I think he'd be incredibly useful to us. And also, I think maybe even back then, Rafa wasn't entirely confident that Gouffran was going to sign a contract. So if you remove Gouffran from the situation and you have Aarons, who's incredibly injury prone, and I mean, we talked about it that we thought Aarons might go on loan. The only winger, if you didn't sign Atsu, was going to be Richie. So I thought it was completely logical just to bring him because it was pretty much there, ready to be done and to be signed. And I think in pre-season he's been pretty much fine, and I expect him to start the season with starting left winger.
To be honest, I would have been disappointed if we didn't actually sign him, because I think he showed a lot last season, and I think for the price that he was going for, I just thought it was the best option, just to even as a rotation player, even if we don't end up using him, we've still got him there.
Yeah, I was a bit 50-50 on it. I wasn't bothered if we signed him or not, but again, he was only used a lot towards the end of the season, so I think he kind of proved himself, and Will was touching upon Gouffran, whether or not he was still going to be at the club. Rafa was undecided, but now obviously Gouffran's left him, we've got Atsu. I think he's definitely someone we can work with going into the Premiership, and if he gets the right training, has the right game time, hopefully plays a lot of games, he should hopefully be good, and should hopefully be a good buy.
Yeah, I think when you touched upon there, Sharky, and one you did with Gouffran, I would still have Atsu over Gouffran, don't get me wrong. So if you're listening on YouTube, get your comments about Christian Atsu. Was that a good buy or not? We're going to move on to Florian Lejeune. I think the majority of this table are with it. I think there's someone who's going to pipe up and she's laughing. She's sitting there with her shades on and like a leather jacket, just loving it in the sun with our, I don't know what drink she's got. Looks like Coke, a strong Coke. Anyway, so Florian Lejeune, now this went on for weeks, didn't it? It went on with this is never going to get done this. It was like, how man? And we got to the point where, I think this is where fans were getting a little bit frustrated that we only had one in the door, but people were saying we haven't really got one because he was already at the club Atsu and blah blah blah. We signed him, didn't know too much about him. Everybody jumped on YouTube and thought they were experts at these skills. So never, if you're a YouTube scout, you're the worst scout in the world. You really are. You don't watch YouTube for players because everybody looks class. But we didn't know too much about him. Obviously, over pre-season, we learned that he's got one hell of a touch. He looks fantastic on the ball, brings it down from the air. He doesn't just hoof it out. He doesn't panic. He casually traps it and plays it nicely. And I think he for me, and we'll talk about players who are pressed. He for me has got to be nailed down to be a first choice centre back. Judging so far, no, he hasn't really been tested. Will, thoughts on Florian Lejeune? Or Lejeune?
Well, from what I've seen, I mean, I've only seen the video in the game against House of Verona. He just looks that had that bit of class about him. When it just seemed like you could see he's a proper footballer, in the fact and how he, his touch and how he manages to pass the ball. He makes it look almost effortless in a way, but he also is quite strong. He's quite tall. He just looks built for the Premier League, frankly. And even though it took ages, I think it could be worth it. And I mean, it was only again £8 million, I think, in the end. So I don't really understand why it took so long. But I mean, for that money, he seems to be someone who is sort of ready-made to come in. And I know Grant Hanley's still at the club, but to have that quartet of Mbemba, Lascelles, Clark, and Lejeune, I think that's a good selection to have. Good options. This variety? Yeah, all that good stuff.
I'm going to be sensible with this one actually this time. Over pre-season I've been thinking, and I do think I would put him as first choice centre back. I honestly would now.
So changed your mind?
Yes, I've changed my mind. But yeah, I think he looks great from what I've seen so far.
So what I've seen of Florian Lejeune this summer, I think he's brilliant. I think he looks like a no-nonsense centre-back who seems to know what he's doing. You say Will touched upon, he's very, very tall. He's very, very good at bringing people into play. So when he touches the ball, he can bring it into the midfield and then work from the back to the front. And again, he's confident in his ability, and we need that going into the Premier League. We need players that are confident on the ball and that can bring other people into play, because we're going to be relying a lot on our centre-backs as we're playing the oppositions, the likes of these Chelseas, your Arsenals, your Tottenham, whatever. They're going to be in our faces, and we're going to have a controlled back line, and I think he could lead by example going into the Premier League soon.
It's interesting that you touched on that, because I think out of the centre-backs, I think Hanley will go. But if you look at our 4 centre-backs that left, you probably have to say Jamal Lascelles is the only one who's not comfortable on the ball. Well, not as comfortable as the other 3. The other are ball-playing centre-backs, which maybe that's Rafa's thought, Right, we'll come off that and we'll talk about the man who supports the club, and we've seen pictures of him on Twitter with his twin brother. Seems very humble, I think, a nice, honest lad. Grew up in London, moved to Norfolk, the Norwich area. His parents are obviously from Gateshead, Berkeley and Newcastle area, and so on and so on. A lot of fans were like, 12 million for Jacob Murphy, who's he? And obviously we've been in the Championship. I watched a lot of the Championship last year, and he scored against Ware last season. I think he did twice actually. I know he did at St James's, and I think it's about right for the 22-year-old. Had a good summer at England under 21s. Gives you the option to play a right or left, quick, direct. And I've said all summer that Matt Ritchie needs a bit of competition. If Matt Ritchie plays every single game, it's natural that his form at some point will drop, and it did happen at the turn of the year. Matt Ritchie's form dropped in the Championship, and then he had a great end of the season. So it gives Rafa more options to play around, tinker, because I think we'll see more of it. But I'm actually pleased about this one. I think it's more of a safe buy. It's one for the kind of like when Bobby Robson was buying the likes of Hugo Vallana, Jermaine Giannis, not the finished article, but players who can grow into the roles. Well,
I think one point is we've seen how many players improved under Rafa, especially Isaac Hayden. I think Jacob Murphy will fall into that category. But at Norwich, he incredibly impressed me. In the Championship, I know the Premier League is very, very different, but I mean, he touched his sort of direct nature, his pace, and seems to score goals and get assists. The only thing I'd say is that when we signed him, we were linked to him. I always felt that maybe he wasn't Rafa's first choice as a winger, maybe, because it's always a risk when you go for someone who is coming from the Championship. But he had a fantastic time with England as well, and with the under-21s. I think he was even playing right back, and he scored and absolutely shone. And I think if you're an England under-21 international, it adds virtually doubles your price tag. So I think 12 million is probably about right. But he's definitely not the finished article, but I think he will be very, very good for us this season.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think it's definitely kind of like a project buy for Rafa, somebody he can work with and like make into his own, and hopefully he can prove that this season and going forward as well.
Yeah, great bit of business by Rafa once again. £12.5 million from Norwich, scored 2 goals past Newcastle, so Rafa kind of knew what he was about when he scored the 2 goals at St James's in the 4-3 win over Norwich. And he went on to score 9 goals for Norwich last season. Take that how you like, but I think the lad, he's only 21. England have got high hopes for him, and I think he's someone who Rafa can work with over the summer, and he's someone who I think can do well in Newcastle United's squad if he's given the right training. I think he's a quality buy, and like I say, he's saying all the right things. He's got family from up here, and there's not many players that sign for Newcastle that say, oh, they love the club and that, they want to play for the badge and whatnot. And again, we'll have to just wait and see, but again, fantastic business.
Can't start singing now. I have to, pretty much everyone echoes it's a buy that's not, someone that'll go into it. It doesn't get you off your feet and go, wow, So again, if you listen on YouTube, comment down there below. Are you happy with that one? Now we're going to touch upon that was quite controversial. I wasn't very happy. I'm going to be honest with you. This next signing. So the lads were over Ireland when this was announced. Obviously, Jacob Murphy at the start of the week. Manquillo was announced at the back end of the week. A lot of pictures of him, picture training and so on. The thing is about this one for me, I'm going to start negative, turn it into positive. I think that's the right way to do it. When we signed him, I was like, really? That was my reaction. I was like, we can do a lot better than that. And then I thought, Vernon Anita leaving the club or Manquillo, I would pick Vernon Anita right back every time. Vernon Anita's not that finished article, don't get me wrong. But I think Anita is more safer because he's played in the Premier League and gives you different options. He's worked with Rafa. But on the positive, the last 2 games in pre-season, Manquillo's he stepped up the plate a little bit. I know it's not, again, the greatest opposition. We're playing against the side Hellas Verona in basically a Wolfsburg B side. And he looked very promising. You can get up and down the pitch. I think that works for a modern day fullback. But for me, this is 50-50 with this one. I'm massively on the fence. Out of all the signings, this is the one I'm least excited about.
I kind of have to agree. I mean, I like the way they announced it. What was the caption? Some things look better in black and white. Something like that. But I think that's now twice in a row that we've signed a right back for Atletico Madrid who's Spanish and a right back who last season spent on loan at Sunderland. It was 2-1 this time. But again, I completely sat on the fence with this one. I mean, considering Anita left, we needed someone to come in, and I was actually struggling to think of names. And in that sense, as a backup, it makes sense, especially by the fact that Anita, I think, is 28. This guy's 23. So there's that part of it. Also, by the fact he's can also play at left back. From what I saw against Hellas Verona, gave me a bit of encouragement because he actually didn't look too bad. Although Hellas Verona weren't great, to be honest, that's fair to say. But I also think he was a bit similar to Yedlin, and what I liked about Anita was that he was a bit different. So again, so you kind of someone who doesn't just completely just bomb on and you get exposed.
He knows when to stop, when to go.
Yeah, so I think he needs coaching, but again, same point with Jacob Murphy. Rafa knows how to improve players, and maybe this could be the making of him. I don't know, but I think when Yedlin's fit, I think Yedlin will start.
Yeah, I was quite surprised with this one. I'm quite surprised that Vernon left because I thought that he was a safer option. But I think, again, Rafa can coach him and kind of put him in his place of where Rafa wants to be at. But I think he's still got to prove himself for me.
Yeah, so on Javi Manquillo, again, I'm 50-50 with it, and obviously we'll all know he's from Sunderland and whatnot. And again, Anita would have been the safer option. He's got the Premier League experience, and I was a bit gutted that he left. He's now playing his football at Leeds United, and he did have a good game against Hellas Verona, but again, Hellas Verona was shocking. And again, he's going to have to prove himself over the season, to guarantee first team football. No one's guaranteed first team football under Rafa Benitez, but we're just going to have to wait and see.
Again, if you listen on YouTube, comment below. So we're moving on to the guy. Then there wasn't a signing for a good 10 days or so, Mikel Merino, and everybody was like, who? So everybody jumped on Wikipedia and tried to be the expert, and I know he's this and that and all of this sort of nonsense that goes on, So we don't know a massive amount about him. We know that he was at Osasuna, he got promoted from the Secunda division, got his big move to Dortmund, didn't really have many games. He played 9 games, and a couple of those he was played centre-back. But again, if you look at Dortmund's midfield, you can see why he's not getting in that side. This one, again, I think it's more like the Murphy one. We've got him initially signed on loan. Once he hits that allegedly trigger clause, he'll become a permanent buy. I can't really comment on this one because I haven't really seen enough of him. Yes, we've seen a world-class pass, but You know, you can't really judge a player on a world-class pass, and when he's not getting much minutes, he's getting 15-20 minutes per friendly to get him up to speed. But we'll have to see on this one. But I think what it does do, it basically knocks Jack Cole back down to 5th choice, because it looks like Diarma's playing there in that centre midfield role as well. Will?
I kind of agree. I wasn't YouTube scouting, but I tried to read up on him, and the amount of conflicting things I saw about it was ridiculous, saying that this guy was a defensive midfielder, you know, sort of just stays there, kind of like Isaac Hayden. The other one, obviously, he's, you know, it's like a mini Yaya Toure and just takes the ball and runs forward and sprays passes for days. So I kind of can't really comment because I don't know what kind of midfielder he is. I mean, we've got, how many have we got at the minute? We've got
5,
yeah,
because Diarma's playing there.
yeah. We've also got, when I first saw this, I thought that means Saive's out the door. But also, consider Diarma's dropped back, this probably might be the Colback replacement, because I mean that's come out recently that Colback might leave. So if you think you have to get it down to 25, a 4 of Merino, Shelvey, Hayden, and Diarme. I think that, again, same with the centre backs. It gives you options. It gives you a fairly decent range and depth as well. I don't know if I would start him over Hayden, but I haven't seen too much of him to really comment on that anyway. But he seems a promising young player, and you know they've already talked about him being here for years rather than just this loan. So they are looking for him to be in the long-term plans.
Again, I actually haven't seen much of him, but I know everybody, to be honest, looked good in the Hellas Verona's game, but he did put a few passes together. But again, it's a step up to the Premier League, and I think we're just going to have to wait and see what he can bring in the Premier League.
Again, I don't know too much about Mikel Merino, but all I know is that Rafa sees something in him. He looks promising. I don't know what type of midfielder he is, but hopefully we'll see more of him in the Premier League. I don't know whether he's going to be a first team starter or if he's going to come on, you know, for the last half an hour. You know, he's going to get the odd second half of the cup games, but again, you know, if he's been at Dortmund, he must be, you know, want to look out for the future. He can't be that bad, but again, it's hard to comment on him.
Despacito. Sorry, I had to get that in. It's been in my head all day, and plus he was singing it as well when he's doing his Sharky's been singing it as well. Right, okay, again, comment down below. Right, we're going to just be touching upon a little bit of speculation. We're not going to go through every single player because there's been absolutely hundreds. We're just going to talk about 2 or 3 who are like rumoured right now and what our thoughts on it. What we'll do, instead of going through each player on this bit, we'll just literally talk about 3 of them in one go. So Lucas Perez, speculation. We know that Rafa went down for the Premier League launch recently, had a bit of a cheeky laugh on with Arsene Wenger saying, you know, I like your player, and Wenger saying, give me the money then. His agent's messing around. He's saying that Deportivo want him and so on and so on. For me, this will be an absolutely phenomenal buy. I think, yes, he's 28, that's not on his side, but the priority this season is just to stay up, and you need goals. You take Dwight Gale away from that, is Mitrovic going to get you 15-20 goals? No. I would really like it. I would love, like, it gives you different options. You can play on the wings, you can play in the 10, you can play up top. He's not just a poacher as well, he can move, he'll spin off the defender. He gives you a vast majority, and you can't be bad if you're banging in hat-tricks for Arsenal in the Champions League and you're not getting a game. Kennedy, the other one, he could be signed by the time, I guess, this gets published, but if it's not, it'll be over the weekend at some point, we think. You know, Brazilian, bit of a bad lad reputation. We're seeing the racist comments over China. I don't know if you lot have seen it or not. And then, you know, he gives you options. He's actually started when he came to Chelsea, he was playing up front, then he was moved to left wing. I've seen him play left back, I've seen him play left wing back, so I guess it's more options for Rafa. Maybe he sees Kennedy's, I don't know, pulled him to back up for the season, perhaps bombing on, or maybe he sees him as a Rolando Aaron's replacement, because we know, bless him, he's made of glass. And then we'll link to the goalkeeper Adrian all the time. For me, I'm against this massively. I do not want to see this happening. It's basically because I feel that the goalkeepers there are not any worse than what he is. Now, people might argue Tim Krul's gone, so you need a third goalkeeper in. I'm going to disagree on this one, because we think Freddie Woodman will go out on loan, but Freddie Woodman would play still the Czech trade games. And however, if he were even if he was loaned out, you've still got Elliott, you've still got Darlow, and then you've got Wilson and Harker, who would come third choice. Now, Wilson already trains with the first team, and he would, if Woodman went on loan, play in the checker trade as well. So I don't think it's a huge problem, and I just don't get that goalkeeping problem. Me.
Do you want me to start with Perez?
Yeah.
So I completely agree. I think it'd be a brilliant signing if we could get this one done. I mean, it's a bit of a tug of war at the minute between Newcastle and Deportivo. Basically, who's actually got the money, because it seems that Deportivo don't, and nor do we, seemingly. So Arsenal have to give way at some point. But I think, again, versatility is a great one. Whenever I saw him play for Arsenal, he seemed to do very, very well. I mean, again, hat-trick in the Champions League, you can't be that bad. I think it's also important because of the three strikers, I think it's better to have two that are like Gale, because that's what Rafa likes to play, and then have Mitro as the alternative option to be the big target man kind of guy, and Perez kind of fits the bill really. So I think it'd be a great one to do. I mean, if we could do it on loan, that's probably is what's going to happen. We might have to do a loan with a, with a trigger later, because we will get the money coming in throughout the season of, and then we'll be able to pay the 13 million or something they want for him. Yeah, the Kennedy one. I think this is Kennedy.
Sorry, bad boy Brazil.
I don't like this. I don't like the stories that came out, but I think this is the answer for the left back.
Or left wing even.
Yeah, but his versatility is going to be good. But I mean, they're wanting to put Haidara and Lazar out of the club. You need that attacking left back, and I think his versatility plays a part in that, in how he can essentially fulfill that role, as well as others such as left wing if we need a problem there. He could probably do one on the right wing as well, and also I heard in attacking midfield as well. Goalkeeper. I don't know. I mean, Rafa seems very adamant to do something about this, and for the life of me, I can't understand why. I think
Cabello was the first one.
Caballero, yeah.
It's too cold, isn't it?
Yeah. And when
It's too cold looking up for Caballero.
yeah. I was in the in the Premier League launch. He was talking about like the mistakes that they made, and he meant that one of the mistakes was that we didn't sign Caballero at the start, and I don't really understand why we would have, because I don't see him as better than Elliott, than Darlow and Krul. I mean, whenever I've seen Elliott play for Newcastle, he does well. He's been absolutely outstanding. He's had some real standout games. Darlow, 9 times out of 10 is fine, and Krul's been there for ages. I don't know if he's going to bring Krul back into the fold if he can't get a goalkeeper, or if he feels like he can trust Freddie Woodman, if he wants him put out on loan. I mean, there's probably going to be more names that are going to come in. It wouldn't surprise me if we got more than 2. But I think those 2 would be a good start.
So starting with Lucas Perez, I think it's going to be, if it goes through, it could pay off in the sense that he could be similar, as said, the likes of Gale, the way they play. But then again, if anything happens to them players, then he's got to be linked up with Mitrovic, which could be debatable whether that would pay off. Kennedy, I'm not too sure about this, because do we go with what's morally right, or do we go with what's best for the team? But if it morally,
You had Joey Barton for ages.
yes. That's why I'm fit. But we've got Rafa now. But no, I've seen clips of him and when he's been playing before, and he does look decent, and I think he could be a good addition if he comes. And lastly, Adrian, I just don't see the need for a new goalkeeper. I really don't. I don't see all the links with it, and I've said this throughout pre-season. I just don't think we need a new goalkeeper.
So on Lucas Perez, I'm undecided on this one, to be honest. Will he get you 10 to 15 goals a season?
I think he will.
Lee thinks so. I'm just not sure. I know he's had limited games for Arsenal and he has done right. He's had hat-tricks in the Champions League, but again, it's whether or not Newcastle are going to pay the £13.5 million, because you know what we're like, we'll mess about and then all of a sudden we'll miss out.
You can always have Hosselu.
I don't want Hosselu. I like a Hosselu. He's no better than what we've got. But again, it's in Newcastle's court. If we really want him, we'll go out and pay the £13 or £15 million, and Arsenal are willing to accept it. Hopefully it doesn't drag on like it has done with the rest of the players that we've been trying to sign, because it's leaving us far behind in the market, and it's leaving our squad threadbare. But again, I'm undecided on it. Will, Alicia, what do you think?
Carry on. Right, okay.
Why didn't you mention the ones?
Huh?
I didn't mention the other 2.
Well, go on, carry on.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Kennedy, I'm not too sure about. Is he better than Haidara and what we've already got? Again, that's the questionable.
Score for Chelsea.
Might have scored for Chelsea, but again,
Champions League for Chelsea.
I mean, he's got a bit of a bad boy reputation, so that's another one. But again, also on the keepers, I don't think we need another goalkeeper. I think I'm happy with Rob Elliott being number 1. Freddie Woodman needs to be number 2. I mean, he's won the World Cup for England. Obviously, I know it's not the World Cup for the main team, but again, it's a massive achievement. He's one for the future, and we don't want to do what we're doing with the likes of Fraser Forster and send them out as likes of Celtic, where they do better for Celtic. He goes out and does well for Southampton, and we're living to regret it. We need to try and get him in to number one as soon as possible.
I think Woodman wants a loan though. I think that's the key. He wants the loan to come back to Newcastle.
First team football, doesn't he?
Exactly.
Right, you know what to do on YouTube. We're going to come off it, and we're not going to go through every single one over here, talking about each individual player who's left the club. What we'll do is we'll just move on, go around the table for each player. I'll start with Florian Lejeune. It's frustrating, this one, because he went out on loan and he had a phenomenal season, didn't he? We got the money for him eventually, 9.5 million rumour to be. What a season he had. You know, he got like 15 goals, something daft like that, and double assists, double figures for assists, playing for France. It's one of them that could have been, because for me, I've said this on record, I don't think he was. McLaren didn't know when McLaren come in. McLaren just didn't know how to deal with him. He got him out on loan literally in 5 months. I think that's poor. See, I would have made him rot in the reserves and look, say, you've got to work, you've got to go harder, work him harder, give him a work ethic, and just shift him out on loan. And then he was happy. Where he is, he's content. So, you know, it could be one of them players that got away. It's just one of them, you know. Well, you could say about likes of Remy Cabella as well, but he looks like he's up for already a transfer from Marseille. Can't get a game, but Will, Daryl Murphy.
This one, I think we all saw coming, despite the fact he was making noises saying that he wanted to at least try to compete in the Premier League and he wanted to play at the highest level. He went to Nottingham Forest for 2 million, is that right?
3-year deal.
Yeah, that's, how old is he? 34?
Mm-hmm.
34, so he's 37, that's impressive. But, I mean, for us, whenever he played, never let us down. Never did. Especially, one that stands out is that Fulham game at home. He was the only one that I would say played well in that one.
Come off the bench and scored.
Yeah, and he was incredibly effective player, and I think he'll do fantastically for Nottingham Forest. I just think for the Premier League we need to get a bit more of an upgrade, and someone like Lucas Perez would do. But if we don't get anyone in, then I think we might live to regret that one. So Alicia, the next one's Sammy Amiobi.
Sam, who scores? We're on the pitch.
Moving on to Sammy, I think it's the best time to let him go now. You know, I just don't think he could have made the step up in the Premier League this season. Obviously didn't feature that much last season either, so to get him off the wage bill in place to get new players in, it's probably the best option.
So Vernon Anita, so I think I'm a bit gutted that he's left, if I'm honest. I think he's got the Premier League experience which we would have needed next season when it comes to, you know, defending set pieces, you know, when the opposition's coming on the counter attack. And I think he was a good all-round player. He can play at, you know, different positions like the centre back when we needed. He can play at right back, whatnot. And we had that option, whereas like now with Manquillo it's a bit different. And like I say, I wish them all the best at Leeds United. I watched them last night in the Carabao Cup. He looked really, really good. And I think Leeds could go on to bigger and better things with Anita. And again, Vernon Anita is signing for another big club, so he's not just, you know, leaving Newcastle and going elsewhere. He's potentially going back to the Championship and helping another club try to get back in the Premier League where he will be wanted.
No, I echo that. So Haris Vukic, the man who's like 50, signed at the club when he was really young. This wonder kid, you know, rumoured that would beat Milan to the signing. And you know, we've seen a couple of flashes. You might have seen his Ajax goal when he took on, literally ran from the whole pitch. Scored for Scored in the Europa League. Sorry, getting drunk already on this Fosters. So you know, he scored in the Europa League against Atra Mitros, I think it was, when we won 1-0. Anyways, I'm rambling on. Free transfer. He hasn't got a kick for a good few years now. Right call to get rid of him. Johan Gouffran, Will.
So Gouffran actually played a lot for us, and the club said they tried to negotiate a contract with him. And
do you reckon that's on the lower wage, or
must be, because I can't, because he left for Turkey, so they probably offered him more money, because I can't really think on why he would turn it down for, as everyone says, footballing reasons.
And now he's the king of Westeros.
Yes, it was I think Jacob Murphy's a suitable upgrade. We all knew that I was saying that I would let Gouffran go and get Anita to stay. It turned out that we lost both of them. Sharky, what are you looking at?
We all in the big market, you get some right characters.
Get some right crackers, yeah.
I'm just being distracted, I can't get my thoughts out. Gouffran, right to leave. Kevin and Babu. Next.
I don't know how I feel about this one. I think he could have had potential, but again, was he going to get a place in the starting 11? Probably not. And he probably could go on.
Let me ask this question: Javi Manquillo or Kevin Mbabu is your second choice right back?
Mbabu.
Good choice.
I don't know. Rafa, I don't think give him the chance really, and just had to let him go.
Right, so we're going to be talking about Matt Sells. So where do I start with him? Well, it was a transfer to forget. I don't think he was good enough, and he struggled from day one. And he was at fault for a couple of fumbles that he had, and we pretty much lost a couple of games in the Championship. We lost to Fulham and we lost to Matt Sells, and a lot was down to him. The communication between himself and the back, and obviously he's now got on loan to, is it Anderlecht he's gone on loan to?
Yeah.
And he had a bit of a bad start there, so this could have been the difference between Newcastle going up or staying in the Championship if we kept a hold of Matt Sells. And again, we played Carl Dolan, it seemed to have been the right choice.
Just to stick up for Matt Sells, Carl Dolo done double amount of errors that season if they both played the same amount of games. Just putting devil's advocate, you know. Right, okay, Adam Armstrong. Right, the local lads who all want to do well, we want him to be the number 9 from West Denton. Obviously my family know his family really well, and
Have you mentioned that every single podcast? I swear. Swear to God.
I know. Well, you know, even the girlfriend looks after Rolando's little one. Right, yes, Adam Armstrong. You know, we always want to see local talent get through the first team and score goals. And you know, we've had Alan Shearer down the years. We got rid of Andy Carroll pretty quick. Armstrong's been loaned out yet again, and I think it's probably the right decision if he's not going to play. Then people are saying, well, we've only got 2 strikers, maybe Armstrong could be used as third one. Rafa clearly just doesn't fancy him, doesn't think he's good enough for the first team, and that's a little bit worrying. But for me this season, I know he scored in the League Cup, for me he has to go and bang in 20 odd goals this season or his future is in serious jeopardy. Last player is Ivan Toney.
Bit under the radar that because he's kind of keep going out on loan. I think he's been on 3 now since he's been here, and he seems, whenever he goes out on loan, quite sort of similar to Adam Armstrong, that he seems to impress. However, he's gone to League One now, I think twice. He seems to be just a bit behind in his development despite being older, so I'm not sure if he's really got a long-term future at Newcastle. I think this one could be his last one, because I think it really is crunch time.
Similar to Armstrong, he needs 20 odd goals.
Yeah, he needs to either set the league alight or he's probably going to be sold or let go. So I'm not so sure if we'll see Ivan Toney play for Newcastle.
Champion, again, you know what I do on YouTube, comments on those players going out. Speculation, right, we're not going to go through every single player. What I'll do is I'll literally name off the lists. I want you to answer whether you want them to leave. You don't have to say every player. It's someone who stands out, or you want them to stay. So Rafa's trying to trim his squad down to gain probably about, I would say, looking at the list, probably 160, 170,000 saving a week on wages, which will allow you to spend more money. Tim Krul, Ashraf Lazar, Grant Hanley, Masada Hidara, Jack Colback recently, Emmanuel Riviere and Henri Savé. I'm picking those names because some of them are playing on the under-23s and some of them just haven't played the last couple of games in pre-season. I may as well start as well. So looking at that list, probably I'm not bothered about any of them, if I'm being totally honest with you. I'm probably looking at them, you'd probably say Tim Krul, yes, he's probably a little bit unfair. Lazar didn't really get his chance, but the other ones, it's probably right to move them on. So I'm not too fussed about any of them, if I'm being brutally honest with you. Will?
I agree that Krul might be harsh, but I think we actually have 5 goalkeepers on the books, you know, that are senior, if you count Freddie Webber as senior, so we need to start at least moving some on. I think the only 2 on there that I would think about would be either Lazar or Haidar, if we couldn't get a left back, to have them as an option, and possibly again just as an option, because he could be at one point useful, Jack Colback. Like he could be, you know, 6th choice midfielder, but you know, again, he could be useful. He could be. You know, we've had injury crises before. Riviere and Savé, I'm not even identifying with answers.
To be honest, I would follow suit with, I think Tim Krul's the only one I would honestly keep. It also saves you from going out and having to find a new goalkeeper, because you've got the experience there as well. But the rest of them, I don't think I would keep, to be honest.
So there's only 3 I would want to have a look at again. Tim Krul, I think, has been very harsh on him. I think he's still a top quality goalkeeper. He's got the Premier League experience, and we need it. And again, he says all the right things, but it's whether Rafa wants to keep him. That's another question. Afraf Lazar, yeah. I'd rather give a chance. Lazar, again, someone who didn't really get much game time last season, someone I'd like to see again in the first team, see what he's about. And also a controversial one, Grant Hanley, another one who I think is a bit unfair on. He hasn't really had a look in as much in the Championship.
He hasn't done that wrong, has he?
No, he hasn't. And I think, again, we're going to need as many centre-backs as possible for the Premier League because if we get an injury, we could see someone we could rely on. And I think a lot of fans are saying he's not good enough because he's only Championship quality, but again, you've got to think of the Premier League and how many players that we need in the squad.
Champion, right, so if you're listening, go and get yourselves a cuppa, go and get yourselves a brew. We're coming off that now, and if you want to go at the toilet or whatever, get another drink, just head off. What we're going to do now is come off the players. We'll come back to the players later on at the very end, and then we'll answer some of your questions which you fired it with. We're going to be talking pre-season. Sharky, I'll be coming to you because you went to a couple of these. Now we'll begin with the Hearts one. Everybody excited. It was like a kid at Christmas. I was streaming it on Hearts' TV.
$6.99 or something.
$5.99, well spent, even though it didn't work for the first 20 minutes. I think the first pre-season is always about just get as many bodies out there, get yourself 45 minutes, forget about the performance. It's more about getting the bodies out there, getting fit. We're seeing two different sides. I think there was 23 players used. We're 1-2-1. Nice to see Dwight Gale carry on his form. I remember Siem de Jong turning his man and having a fantastic through ball to set up Gale. So it was nice to see Siem de Jong there. That was probably the highlight of that game for me, was Gale's double and Siem de Jong's 45-hour performance for me. Will, Hearts 1, Newcastle 2.
So I only saw highlights of this one. The most encouraging part about it for me was Siem de Jong, because number 10's we've talked about how much that's been a problem position for us, and thinking that we needed to sign someone that if you think Kearney was going to cost 25 million or something stupid like that, Sigurdsson's going to be 50. To have someone who's already on the books and looks like he wants to be here and looks as though he can be better than what Diame was and give us something different to Jose Perez, I think that was a massive boost in terms of what I saw, and I was quite impressed. Now I'm very happy for Siem de Jong to be part of the squad now. Previously I would probably have sold him. Gale getting 2 goals, always good. Lejeune looks pretty good as well. Not too much to say on that.
Yeah, from the highlights that I've seen, I think the player I have to agree the most impressed I was with was Siem de Jong. I think he hasn't had much luck the past few seasons, and I think he could do well this season from what I've seen from pre-season.
Yeah, just touch upon what Leisha said. So obviously Newcastle were by 2 goals to 1 against Hearts. I thought De Jong was fantastic. I've said in previous podcasts I want to see a look of De Jong again. A lot of fans were saying, he's not good enough and that he needs to go and whatnot, but again, he's had non-footballing injuries, and that's not the club's fault. That's for what he's had, and again, he come on strong in the game. The assist for Dwight Gale for his goal was fantastic, and he's just proved that he can do it on those sort of occasions, and he has got what it takes to play in the Premier League because he's played in the Prem for us before. And if Rafa can give him more opportunities, I think he can become a better player. But again, we're just going to have to try and be patient with him. And again, seeing the legs of Florian Lejeune, I think he was fantastic for his debut. And again, Newcastle just pushed on from there.
Right, I'm going to come back to you, Sharky, in a second. So we moved off that. Then a few days later, no, it wasn't a few days later. We went Ireland, didn't we, first? We went Ireland for a week. Obviously, we've seen a couple of signings there. Nice, looks quite nice actually in Ireland. Carlton House, very posh, nice weather most of the week. And then we came back, and then we went to Lancashire. It is Lancashire, isn't it?
Lancashire, yes.
It's near Blackburn, Burnley way. Preston 1, Newcastle 1. Again, results don't really matter. Shark, you were there, so what I'll do is I'll let you talk for the majority of this. How we lined up, how did we play, etc, etc, etc.
So pretty much started off with Alexander Mitrovic up front. Newcastle were fantastic for half an hour. Deservedly scored through Alexander Mitrovic. Again, they could have scored more. And then when you look at the second half, Preston got an equaliser before that. Newcastle after half an hour just wilted away a little bit. They weren't really bothered too much. Obviously Preston were a week ahead of us on terms of fitness, a lot stronger in the game, so we couldn't really compare to the league. But it was a kind of a game of 2 halves. Newcastle were brilliant for, again, 45 minutes, and then second half Preston were by far the better team in the second half and deserved the equaliser.
Yeah, from the highlights that I've seen, this was probably not the greatest one. But again, it was just all to do with fitness, getting Mitrovic his turn after playing Gale the game before. and yeah, we didn't play great. It was a game of two halves, if that, because to be honest, we just won like the first 20 minutes and that was it.
Yeah, so again, probably not the best result we could have had, but I think the main point about this game that was highlighted was a lack of firepower up front and our need to have a third striker. I mean, Mitrovic, I think the goal we scored, I think, was a rebound. Anyway, so it wasn't. So probably not the best game that we've ever had, but I'm sure that we'll turn out better performances in future.
Well, we'll talk about Mitrovic a little bit later on, because there's something that all of his goals in pre-season have been tap-ins, which I'll come back to later on. So we drew 1-1. I'm echoing. It was more about getting the fitness and hopefully start to see small tweaks with the formation. Obviously, I banged on about it on Newcastle Fans TV about it. I'd like to see Plan B in place. So we'll move across now to Bradford 0, Newcastle 4. And guess who was there again? Sharky and George. So, we won 4-0. Dwight Gale. Murphy looked very impressive getting a couple of goals. And again, Mitrovic with a tap in from across. Sharky, again, what was the atmosphere like? How do we play? And etc. etc.
So again, the 2,500 Newcastle fans were there, a fantastic night of football, and Newcastle were great from start to finish. And so obviously the first half, Newcastle were creating opportunities, and Bradford notably only had one, which Rob Elliott had to tip over for a corner. Nothing came of that, Bradford. And then after that, really, Newcastle continued to put the pressure on, and then half-time 0-0, but Newcastle scored 2 instant goals 5 minutes into the second half, make it 2-0. And then again, Newcastle just continued that, having loads of efforts and that. And Murphy was fantastic. Jacob Murphy, who was just signed, and again, Newcastle could have scored more. And you touched on Mitrovic as well, another tap in, fantastic again. And at that moment, the team spirit was starting to pick up then, and was starting to work together as a team. Again, it was only Bradford. They weren't exactly great for a League One club. I was expecting better. And Bradford, again, like Wigan, their fitness is 1 week ahead of ours, but Newcastle on the night were fantastic. Probably one of our best, away performances in a long time, and also in pre-season.
Yeah, I've got to agree. I think it was probably the best performance of pre-season. Yes, the only League One club, but you can see all 3 of our main strikers have scored. So that's probably the main thing that you'd take from that, is that they're all kind of ready to fight for the place. Obviously, Murphy left, but the 2 remaining could be there to fight it out.
Yeah, I agree. If you score 4 away from home, it's not exactly the worst performance you've ever seen. Yeah, it's got to be. You can criticise the opposition, but again, mainly about building fitness, getting the team to gel. I mean, probably most encouraging is seeing Murphy score 2 goals there as well, and having no injuries seemingly over pre-season, well, not many, and just an all-round good performance. Not too much to add.
Yeah, I think, again, Mitrovic scoring a tap-in. There's a common theme with Mitrovic in this pre-season. Murphy, again, everybody touched upon. It was nice to see him get off to a good start as well, because the last thing you want is a player not getting off to a fire. And so far, pre-season, in the 3 games, strikers have got, Gale's got 3, Mitrovic has got 2, so it's a good start the pre-season. And considering most of them have only played a half each. So we won 4-0, pretty easy. We moved forward. We had a little bit of a break. We're headed over to Deutschland, and Sehr gut, fantastisch, Germany. How was my German there?
That's class.
Wasn't it? Yeah. Langweilig. Sharky Stein and Duff. Google it. Right, so we'll move on to... so this is with the test, because we're playing against Bundesliga sides. So it went up a notch, because no disrespect to Hearts, Preston and Bradford, but they're a notch lower than us. Then we moved across to Germany, and, I may as well start with the Mainz one myself, and we'll move around. We'll go clockwise this time round. We got beat 2-1. We had a fluke goal for Ugamez, but it was defensive errors from, you would have to say, probably Lejeune slightly, but Paul Dummett more so for not marking his man. And the second goal, almost a carbon copy, slip ball on the angle, and a great finish by Fischer, wasn't it, former Borough winger, and that was Manquillo. So disappointing, but again, you're learning. Did we see any tweaks to the formation? Now this is where I was getting a little bit frustrated on the videos, because we kept saying the 4-2-3-1. I was like, can we see a little bit of a change, please? It's pre-season, let's mix it up, I want to see something different, play 2 top, or at least push Shelby forward. And this is start of the Shelby when he was just starting to tweak it a little bit and giving it a little bit more licence. Yes, we got beat, but I think it was shortly after this, after the Germany trip, I know we beat Wolfsburg later on, which we'll come on to, that Shelby admitted that Newcastle are playing on the counter, so no wonder we're playing deep. But that was poor out of all the pre-season games for me. That was awful performance. Well,
Yeah, not great this one, but it's good to get the mistakes out of the way before the real season starts. And you talked about it there. It was the two new lads. They're still gelling into the team. You got to be a little bit, sort of complacent. I wouldn't go too crazy into reading too much into it. Just not a great performance overall.
Yeah, I would have to say this was probably the main test of the whole season. This was probably as tough as it was going to get. Arguably Wolfsburg, but they didn't play their usual team. But yeah, if you look at the mistakes again, arguably with newest players, you can't really complain considering the opposition. But
The weather wasn't good either. It was 28 degrees, wasn't it?
It was pretty hot.
But yeah, just to get fitness again up.
Yeah, again, Tottenham minds. Again, these were a step up from the likes of Hearts, Preston, Bradford. No disrespect, and they finished 15th in the Bundesliga, surprisingly. And
That's out of 18, by the way.
out of 18, so is that relegation?
No, it's relegation.
So yeah. Anyway,
We have 18 in Bundesliga.
and again, this was a real tough test, and again, this wasn't Newcastle's best game. It was individual errors. Again, like Will said, individual mistakes, and again, if we learn now before we start the new season, Rafa can teach the lads, and we can learn throughout the next couple of weeks. And again, Mainz deserved the win, and it just again wasn't the best of performances. I want to forget, really.
And I think Rafa after that, because Lee Ryder was interviewing a few of them, and Rafa was saying, look, we've got another gear to go to. And then we moved on to Wolfsburg a few days later at their training centre. Fantastic training centre. I don't know if you've seen the pictures or the videos. Very, very impressive, because the ladies play there as well. And women's football is bigger than it is over there than what it is over here. So we beat Wolfsburg 3-1, and it wasn't just the win, it was more the performance, it was more the counter-attack, and we looked so much a threat, hitting them with pace. Yes, they were awful, Wolfsburg. They gifted away a couple of easy goals. Mitrovic, again, funny enough, another tap-in, so we'll come back to him later on, which is nice to see. Richie, an absolutely fabulous free kick, marvellous. And Christian Atsu, who's the next two games, this game and the next one, Atsu's on fire. We caused them massive problems with the threat. I know Wolfsburg had a more or less a reserve side out, because I know Mario Gomez didn't even get off the pitch, which I know, Will, you were shouting on for him, weren't you? Couple of videos. Quite surprised we were shouting. And then, yeah, we got the win. Rafa very happy again, but Rafa after the game was saying, look, we've still got another notch to go. And now after that game, John Joe Shelby had said that Newcastle have obviously been working on a plan B, so to speak, where Shelby, because Shelby was outstanding that game. He was pushed a little bit further forward, but Newcastle was sitting further back, hitting them with the likes of Aarons, Richie, Atsu, Murphy. And just to point out, because we forgot to touch upon, Aarons against Mainz was Bradford. He was actually really good as
Fantastic.
well. So we forgot to touch upon Roland Aarons. But yeah, very happy with that. The first signs that was yes, it's still the 4-2-3-1. Will it's a bang on the boot, but it's a tweak, and at least it's a start that Rafa can. If we're getting beat 1-0 away at Chelsea, something's got to give.
Yeah, I mean, Rafa's a man who thoroughly believes in his way of doing things as the best, and you can say that. I mean, there's a lot of times last season where maybe you would have changed it, and we still won the championship for him. I mean, you can talk about that all day, but I did like to see that Shelby was pushing a bit more further forward and giving a bit more freedom. And in this game, it was we looked so much more comfortable. I mean, it wasn't the most difficult game we've ever faced. But we really took control of the whole thing.
You probably said at the start of pre-season that fixture is your standout one.
Yeah, because they have internationals there like Mali, Mario Gomez, and Tep as well. So, I mean, good performance, and so much better than the one that was against Mainz, and it really builds the confidence.
I'm not actually going to have much to say about this, because this is the only one I haven't seen because I was on holiday. But by the sounds of it, we did well, and we got the win as well.
Again, this was a game I watched, and it was definitely the standout fixture. We had to definitely pick up a game from Mainz, and we'll know about Wolfsburg. They're a good club. We'll know them from the European days and whatnot. And I was a bit surprised Mario Gomez didn't get a game, because we all know what he's about and the clubs he's played for. And Newcastle were fantastic. Atsu, for me, was my man of the match. Just some of the creativity, from the wings, bringing people into the game. And Mitrovic, when he scored the first goal. Before he scored it, he could easily been sent off for kicking out before the goal, because he loses his temper. But again, Newcastle scored 1-0 from Mitrovic, another tap in, as you said. And again, for the second goal by Richie, that free kick at the top right hand corner, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And Newcastle again, it's going into the second half. As you expect, Wolfsburg came out with, they got the pen 2-1. Newcastle didn't just sit back and feel sorry for themselves. They actually went at Wolfsburg, and Atsu again was the main reason, for the third goal. And George Shelby picked up the ball, squared it across to Atsu, great finish, and I think he deserved that goal. Not only for their first assist, but his all-round gameplay was fantastic, and it definitely one of the standout results.
Champion, thanks, Sharky. Then we had a good week apart, and to be honest, I thought we would have another signing by then. So came back, and then the Italian mafia came over. The 200 of them in the corner there, bless them. But they make some noise. I couldn't hear them in the Gallagher. I was sit next to Will on this one. Sharky was there.
Very loud. Winding them up very loud.
So he was winding them up, playing Mafia Wars. So I was not so much Newcastle. I was very, very disappointed in Hellas Verona. Didn't offer nothing there. Out of all the games of pre-season, they're the worst side, and that includes your likes of Preston, your Hearts, and Bradford and so on. But they were shocking. I was so looking forward to seeing a couple of those. Pazzini, Churchy, as the two I was looking forward to, and they were awful. Pazzini didn't get a kick of the ball and no service. But then again, praise to Newcastle, because that's down to pressing, making the opposition. Because you don't make mistakes. I mean, you make mistakes, but you don't make mistakes. And they couldn't keep the ball more than 5 minutes. 5 passes, sorry. And that's these are professional footballers. They can do that. It's every day. But this was down to Newcastle pressing well. Scored a fantastic goal. Manquillo bursting on the right, whipped it in. There's Perez, great finish, and then Atsu again. A lot of you who are listening give Atsu man of the match. And again, Shelby was spraying them, getting a little bit further forward. An all-round easy afternoon. Did we learn anything? We were talking on fan cams, all of us. We didn't really learn much because we wanted to have a little bit of test. So going into the Spurs game, you would have liked to seen us maybe they had a right winger and now a left back was tested really hard or something like that, where we can find something out. But again, fitness, I suppose, is positive, and winning games breeds confidence, I guess. Will?
Yeah, I think the only thing I would say about this game that disappointed me is the fact that we didn't score by 10 or something like that. In the end. Well, no, this is the thing. We actually had so many chances and we couldn't score them. That's the one thing I would say. We only scored. You talking about how awful they've been. We only scored 2 goals and they were in half an hour. And the amount of chances we had. I mean, I remember saying to you, if this isn't 5, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad if we haven't scored about 5 past this one, because they were terrible. And it's still there's lack of
after that game. The Chronicle said that they put an article up saying this is why Newcastle need another striker.
Exactly. We had Mitrovic up front.
Questionability.
The Chronicle were, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I thought it was Hellas Verona questionability.
No.
I was like, oh right, sorry.
No.
That's it. We need to have a striker.
They lost. They're questioning our ability. They really need to question theirs.
Yeah, that's what it was.
But it's we saw De Jong was put up front, we saw Perez was put up front, neither looked that convincing.
Richie in the 10.
Exactly, which you've been banging on about for the past year or so.
I want to say Richie in that midfield, along with Shelby, and just to give something good in that midfield, and have the likes of Murphy on the wing, and something different. And I'm
Shark is acting like a local big marketer.
He's acting like a shark. Let's just go with that.
The fish are out later, Sharky.
Yeah. Also, I think Mitrovic missed a hatful of tap-ins as well, or something like that. So, not the best. Again, I think I said it on the time. Not the best game I've ever seen, but we won. Can't complain.
We all complained.
I think, apart from the result, the one thing we can take from this is that how much we are probably going to struggle if we don't get another striker. Because without Dwight Gale, I think we could have got a lot more if he was involved. And I just thought we would have had more of a test for our last pre-season game to get ready for Spurs. But
Yeah, just say Hellas Verona were awful. I mean, even the conference team probably would have done a better job at St James's than them. I mean, they couldn't even string 2 passes together. I mean, Newcastle, like Will said, could have scored 10 or 12 and I wouldn't have complained, even though technically I'm complaining. It's a great result. we didn't learn anything from the game, but again, I wish they'd give a bit more of a test, but you can only beat what's put in front of you, and we now move on to the Tottenham game, which Neil.
No, I guess we'll talk about Tottenham right at the end. Yeah, 2-0. Again, Rafa was saying we've got another level to go, and I still think this team has.
Years we got.
I know. I think.
We didn't get it.
See, just talking. If you had a gear and you're driving a car, just picture it. I think we're stuck in third.
I thought we were in second, and Hellas Verona were in reverse. Frankly,
Hellas Verona were all over the place. Hellas Verona were shocking.
Exactly, in reverse.
In general, pre-season, I think we're about third gear. So if you rate the pre-season, I'll give it 3 out of 5. But as in, it's average. We can't do better, but again, we can do a lot worse. Right, okay, so that's pre-season. Go and get yourselves a cup bag in. Let's talk about Sharky. What drink you got?
I've got a Strongbow dog fruit.
Well, he's drinking it all. He's just sitting there looking at his glass. He is proper big market Alec, isn't he?
Be weird.
Yeah, so let's talk about players, because obviously Rafa now needs a first 11, and he's, what's the word? He's soldiers, so to speak. Is that what you call it? His main men, his men, his go-to men. His grafters go-to men. So, for me, I'm going to reel off mine, and I've got them written down. You can agree, and you can throw in any other names if you want. I think Florian Lejeune has looked pretty impressive. Yes, I know he's probably got communication problems. Shelby looks so much fitter, looks a lot more leaner. He's getting forward, and I like to say that because and I keep banging on about, you know what? He's been down training. You know what I'm going to say, Will? That formation. I'm not. I like the formation. Don't get me wrong. We'll win, but it needs something different when we need a goal.
It wouldn't surprise me if at one point we go 3 at the back and jump on that bandwagon at some point.
Because we did a little bit.
Yeah, particularly if we get what's his name, Kennedy, because he's frankly just built to be a left wing back. So I mean, if we can easily go down that route. And I also think Dummett, and I'm fairly sure I've said this a couple of times, is definitely a centre back. And I think as a left-sided centre back, that would work perfectly, in my opinion.
Right, good shout. So Shelby looks so much more leaner, getting further forward. I think that's a threat. Chris Atsu, the last couple of games, was mint. Burning, getting the ball, knocking it 5 yards ahead and sprinting, whipping it in, and scoring goals left, right and centre. Well, it's creating as well. He wasn't just scoring goals. Right, Mitrovic, because this always throws the debate about Mitrovic. If people are 50-50, get rid of him, keep him. Say I would keep him.
Get rid of him.
Get rid of him. So Sharky will come round to you. Say I would keep him because you need something different. Like I said, if we're getting beat and we're playing against, I don't know, give us a team.
Bournemouth.
So we're playing Bournemouth, and you've got Dwight Gale up front, and he's getting nothing, and we're getting crosses whipped in. You need someone to come off the bench, stick an elbow. Darren Murphy's not here.
Would it be ideal?
Yes, well, Sharky's saying there that you should have kept Murphy. So Mitrovic, the thing I like about it, and I've said this before, he's scoring tap-ins. He didn't say that at all last season, because when he had the ball, he holds the ball up pretty deep, I have to say, like attacking midfield role, and then he passes it and he hasn't got the legs to get back into the box. Whereas this time in Mitrovic, obviously Rafa must have said something to say, look, you stay here, even if you're like doesn't touch the ball all game, like a Van Nistelrooy, doesn't touch the ball, 1 goal, bang, thank you. Do that, stand around, didn't touch the ball, but that's what I like, something different. Dwight Gale, we know the question is, yes, he's missed the last game and a half. Will he score goals in this level? If he's given service, he probably realistically should get 10 to 15 goals without any issues, as long as he stays fit. So he scored 3 goals in 4 games. Any others for you guys, or would you go along, talk about players who impressed and so on, Will?
I think the 11 picks itself without Gale, without Lascelles, without Yedlin. I think Lascelles, there's a case for him to be in there if he was fully fit, but I think we saw the team that will start against Tottenham anyway. I think Mitrovic, this is the thing, because I know Sharky, you say you want him to leave. So, if we sold him, who would you buy?
I'd take down.
Because I want to reel it off. Who would you buy?
Someone better than Alexander Mitrovic, someone actually knows how to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, but who?
Give us a name.
Yeah, you got it.
Daniel Sturridge, but we're not going to get him.
Yeah, well, this is the thing: is that Andre Gray has just gone to Watford for £18 million. He's played. No, but he's played 1 year in the Premier League. He scored 9 goals, and he had 12 months left on his contract, and he cost 20 million. How much would he get from Mitrovic? And could you replace him?
I think Mitrovic can be replaced. I think
By who? That's the same kind of player. That's the thing.
Well, obviously before he went to Watford, I would have took Andre Gray, because I'm not being funny to Burnley's team. Burnley's team isn't that great. I mean, they're a selling club anyway. I would have took him anyway. He would play better.
Just bought Nathan Ake for 20 million.
Exactly.
All I'm going to say is I don't know who we're going to get, but Mitrovic for me, he's just not good enough. I mean, it's 9 goals.
Do you feel ganged up on?
No, I don't feel ganged up. No, I don't feel ganged up on. I just feel upon that he's not good enough for this football club. I think I don't know. I'm saying nothing more.
The thing is that I do agree with you. I would take Andre Gray over Alexander Mitrovic, but we don't. But the thing is, we need a player like him. We've already got him. If we sell him, we're not going to be able to get anybody like him for anywhere near the price that you could say would. Because if your reasoning for Mitrovic is that you couldn't trust him in the Premier League, so you would have to go for someone who's Premier League proven, and someone that's like him, and there's not a lot of strikers like him.
Let me ask you this
You're not
question.
gonna
Then.
get
Let me ask you this, Sharky. If Mitrovic scored 9 goals when we went down, would you take that again?
No, definitely not, because I think he needs to score more in the Premier League, because at the end of the day...
As a second striker,
No, I still think Mitrovic, he needs to score more goals, because that's what we paid the money for. I mean, at the end of the day, how much we pay? £15 million or something it was for him?
13.5.
Well, whatever it is, at the end of the day, if you pay that, you expect goals. And yes, okay, he was alright for the first period of the Premier League. Yes, he was decent, but again, 9 goals in the Championship for me isn't good enough. I think for the second division, he should have scored more, and that's what I'm disappointed about. He can hold up the ball, but he should have scored more.
At least that's just looking on, loving it, and just seeing the old squabble about all of that.
I believe in it. Every fan will agree here. He should have scored more, and I think the jury's out for me. If Mitrovic, for me, I'll give him till January, and if he doesn't score anywhere near the amount of goals that I'm expecting, I think I'll get him out the door in January. He's out the door.
The last word I'll say on that is that I suspect in a year's time, if Mitrovic hasn't scored like plus 10 goals, if he hasn't scored plus 10 goals in a year's time, he's going to leave when we have Premier League money and we can buy someone else, right? Alicia, what do you think of Mitrovic?
For now, I'd keep him as a backup option because I can't see we're bringing just to offer something different. It's a different style of play when you play Mitrovic, so just to keep him, offer something different as a team.
I think you've had your say, Sharky, so we're not coming to So, the thing is, if we take Mitrovic away, we'll have to get 2 strikers in.
I'm happy
That's
to.
what right. Was there any others, Will, except for Mitrovic? Who's impressed you over pre-season?
Aaron's, I have to
Yes.
say, because
Good shout.
hasn't played since September, is it?
October.
Yeah, it's like a really long time. He's come back and he's very much impressed. I mean, I thought that he would be put out on loan this season to be able to get regular first-team football.
Some juicy information on him. I can give you some juicy information, but I can't.
Can I just say something on Aaron's? Can I just say something?
I think Aaron's needs to go to the Championship again. Another loan deal to the Championship, maybe for a 6 month until January to get more game time.
Players are leaving, right?
Well, I don't know how he's going to fit. I don't know at the moment how he's going to fit back.
Sharky, this is not Football Manager.
Well, it might not be, but I think he needs another 6 months in the Championship to get more regular game time, and then if he produces well in the Championship, then get him back and have a look in January. But 6 months isn't going to kill him, I don't think. Roland Aaron's, as much as I like him, is he going to get back into the starting lineup at this current time?
See, I think he will be rotated with Atsu, because Atsu doesn't. He's not going to be a start every game, Atsu. Right, any others, Will, or shall I move Mike over?
No, I think
Because you are causing it. You're getting Sharky upset in the corner.
No, I'm fine.
Secretly
I'm absolutely.
He's been asked about 3 times for 50 pence. He must have that look. So, Alicia.
I'm going to throw a name in there. CM De Jong's actually impressed us so far, along with Rolando Aarons. I think the pace in I know Hellas Veronas wasn't really a test, but I think he really impressed in that game.
Is there anyone who has impressed us?
Yeah.
Probably Jacob Murphy.
Say Mitrovic there.
No. Mitrovic.
Wow.
Being serious, Lejeune for me is impressed up to now. Obviously, his real test is going to come in the Premier League. We all know that against tougher opposition, and also Jacob Murphy as well. Again, he was great in the Bradford game and in Germany pre-season. And again, Rafa's going to take a look at these two and hopefully they progress in the Premier League.
Champion, right? So we are almost at the end. What we're going to do now is move on to the questions. I hope there's not a Mitrovic one. Jesus. Right. So we're going to fire away. We're not going to each answer. Well. We'll go through because there's 11 questions. We'll get everybody to answer one. So what we'll do is we'll start with you, Will. So this is from Kyle Thompson.
Right.
Kyle is actually an admin on Facebook, so he's actually part of the Backrooms team. So hiya, Kyle. Right, question. In 2015, Steve McLaren got a huge budget for that season, roughly 90 million. I think it's 80 to be fair. Yeah. Do you think if Newcastle stay up next season, well, I presume he means this season, Rafa will get the same kind of budget?
Yeah. This is the thing. We all clearly now it's come out that we've completely overestimated how much money we've actually had, because we spent 30 million. We're looking at loan deals already. We talked about having 70 to 100 million. Then Sharky could get his Mitrovic replacements and the 2 extra wingers he needs.
We can just trim that video out all about Mitrovic and just make it as a video.
Fight and talk.
Sharky attacks Mitrovic.
Hey, we like debates on the podcast. This is way too nice in past episodes, but yeah, this is the thing. Sunderland got more for being relegated than Leicester got for winning the Premier League in TV revenue. That's how crazy it is.
7.1 for the
Yeah, so I think so when everyone says that Rafa isn't happy, Rafa wants to leave, I think he'll definitely be here minimum this season. And again, we'll have this conversation in a year's time. I know we will. about if Rafa's going to leave. But in a year's time, after January and and in the summer, will he actually have the money that he requires to get the players that he really, really wants? The big expensive buys that'll break our transfer record and things like that. Because I'm fairly sure that
money's going to go up anyways. We've got Sky money for stay up, in BT. So
exactly. So we'll have more money in a year's time. If he's not given it,
he'll go up.
Exactly. But I am under no illusion. But I believe that he will be given that in a year's time.
Nice try, Will. So what we'll do, we'll move on to Robert Renforth, who actually you've interviewed him a few times, the fan cams, tall lad.
Yep.
Right, okay, so this is to Alicia. All the criticism of us not signing enough players or not spending much money, would it be wise to assess properly in January to what our squad needs? I think it means if we need to basically dip in January if we need to. Don't forget, last year's pundits were saying Newcastle a Premier League side in the Championship.
Personally, I think we shouldn't be waiting to January. By January it could be too late. They've got to have time to gel with the other players, and January's leaving it late. So I think we should be assessing now and just seeing what we're going to do with what we've got at the minute.
I think we'll have more money from Sky as well because they pay instalments as well. Sharky, no. Actually, I'm going to come back to Alicia for this one. You know what's coming, don't you? Because she's got a thing for Jamal Lascelles. I think she's giggling away because I think she's got the hots from, and I think the pair you and your mate Jade has, haven't they? I'm sure you do. Right, so this is from CD. We're moving to Twitter. CD Smith 94. This is especially to Alicia. Thoughts on Lascelles? He's clearly not good enough and the fourth choice centre back in my eyes. Captaincy should be removed from him, if I'm honest. I want everybody to answer this question. You begin, Alicia.
Sit back.
Popcorn out, you might need it.
No.
And they called it puppy love.
No, I think arguably at the minute with what we've got, he could be pushed aside. I think we have got a lot of quality in the defence, but I wouldn't take the captaincy of him, because I think what he did when we went down the season before last. The season before last. I think the way he picked the team up, I don't think you should be taking the captaincy off him.
Sharky?
Is this on Lascelles?
Yeah.
I totally agree with Alicia. I think you shouldn't just take the captain's armband away from him just because he's been injured and he hasn't played a few games, because he was the reason why we nearly stayed in the Premier League under Rafa Benitez. We came within a couple of games away from staying up, if it wasn't for messing up against Villa, and he'd still had confidence in the team, and he wasn't scared to speak up for what was going wrong under McLaren and then what was going wrong under Benitez. And again, once he's back, I think he will get back into that start 11 under whoever is going to be Lejeune or is it going to be Clark. But for me, you don't get rid of the captain who is trying to build the club from the back.
Yeah, I'd agree. You didn't just change your captaincy just because he's fourth choice. Yes, Lascelles, but he speaks a lot of sense off camera and on camera. I think people want to say a bit more hyped up a little bit, but I think he's more of a calm figure because he's a big, massive build, and obviously he's one for the ladies, as Alicia giggles on. But yeah, I don't think he's fourth choice. I think and right now he's third choice, but that's just because he's got that niggling injuries coming back. But 1 or 2 games in, and then we'll have a couple of midweek games. Rafael change his side up, and players like people think Chancellor Mbemba's fourth choice, and he could be, first choice if he has a couple of runs. It just depends on injuries, but you cannot remove the captaincy, can you, Will?
No, I agree. Captaincy, it's much more about the actual player your skill set, it's your character, and he comes across fantastically, and he's got a level head on him, but he's not afraid to speak out. The story that came out from it was Southampton, wasn't it? Yeah, where he took Colaccini and tried to smash his head in or something.
Yamat went punching walls.
Yeah, exactly. They nearly broke the dressing room. He's a man of great character, and even when he doesn't play, we're seeing it much more nowadays, where we see club captains and on-pitch captains, two separate things. I definitely know Arsenal had that. I think it was Mikel Arteta was the club captain, but the people, yeah, exactly. So I don't think you should remove the captaincy from him, and I would definitely say he's third choice centre back, because Rafa clearly trusts him enough to give him the captaincy in the first place.
Yeah, you think your captain starts every game, doesn't it? In predominantly the time. And Shelby's now made assistant captaincy with it. I think that's a good thing.
One quick question: it was when he gets fit, will you put him back in the team? Would you do that?
Nah.
He's going to have to try and find
just because I think the Premier League catches last. He needs to catch up. He's a level behind. Because the others, Mbemba has pace. That he's a ball playing. Lejeune looks comfortable. Kieran Clark's done it, although I think Kieran Clark's fabulous in the Championship. One of the buys, and they're fine with Hayden, but I have doubts even about Kieran Clark because of Aston Villa. He was awful. Right, anyways, this is just for you, Sharky. Your thought? Well, this is from 89 Grant, who's actually a girl, actually, believe it or not. I'm trying to think what her name is. I'm sure it's Katie. Thoughts on what?
Not Grant.
That's a surname. That's a surname. Exactly. Thoughts on why Anita's contract wasn't renewed?
Again, Rafa Benitez is assessing his options. Obviously, he doesn't rate Anita by the sounds of it. He's got rid of him. I mean, he could have negotiated a contract with Anita to try and maybe lower his weekly wage. But again, would Rafa want to be playing first team football in the Premier League? I mean, he obviously favours Manquillo by the sounds of it, which he's obviously both from Atletico Madrid. And I don't think it's that he dislikes the player. I just think he's not in Rafa's plans more than anything else. Obviously, Anita's now moved on to Leeds United, and his fans will wish him all the best. He's been a great servant to the club, but more than anything else, it's about bringing in new players, fresh faces through the door. And again, Anita's done nothing wrong. It's just something Rafa wants. He wants something different.
Yep. So hopefully that answers your question. Moving on to I'll answer this one. It's from Sunny_NUFC. Thoughts on whether we should get rid of Mike Ashley, and thoughts on Kennedy and Perez. Well, first of all, you can't just get rid of your owner. You can't just kick him out the club.
He's not going to leave.
So I think I know what you mean by that. Should he leave? Well, then, yeah. I mean, 90%, 95% of fans say yeah, but I think he gets a lot. I know he's done a lot wrong, Mike Ashley, but he's kind of took a back foot away from the club. And if something goes wrong, the first thing their fans do is criticise the owner, even though the owner's not to blame for probably 75% of the stuff that goes on at the club. Kennedy, I don't know. I really don't know. But it's a signing another body, I guess. It can only be a good thing if it's a loan thing. We're not losing out. Lucas Perez, yeah, I've said it before previously in the podcast earlier on. Be a fabulous buy. Will, I'm going to move on to you. This is from at the Toon 11. Thoughts on our transfer window compared to Huddersfield and Brighton? Who has done the better business?
Right, I'm trying to think of who I actually know of that side.
They've signed a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, this is the thing. It's that I've seen a lot of people talk about who has done the better of the three, and a lot of people are saying Huddersfield by quantity
because they've spent more money and so.
Yeah, but we more than anyone have proved that doesn't work. I mean, was it summer 2014? We signed 8 players and none of them are here, or 2 of them are. So quantity isn't better than quality. I think Rafa's the amount of detail that Rafa goes into with the players that he buys and the players that he selects. No matter even if Jacob Murphy or Javi Manquillo, even if they weren't his first choices, they're still his choices, and they're still the players that he wanted to buy. And seemingly we don't have as much money as we wanted to. We spent a lot last summer, don't forget, despite the fact we did make a profit. I think Huddersfield and Brighton, I know Brighton, they've broken their transfer record 3 or 4 times this transfer window, but none on Premier League players, really. I mean, I can't tell. A lot of them. Yeah, they're coming from Liga, or they're coming from the Eredivisie. So, and I know Huddersfield are a couple of Championship ones, like Tom Ince, who I know you wanted us to sign a year ago, but still, not many proven acquisitions in there. So whoever's done the best. I mean, only time will tell. We've got a long way to go still. I think from the season starting to the transfer window closing, we signed at 4 or 5 players anyway.
The last 40 hours, I think people are getting a bit knocked off because they've spent more money.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. We spent 80 million. Leicester spent 12. They won the title. We got relegated. So money doesn't mean everything anymore, despite Neymar.
So the ladies of Bangkok have just walked past, and I've just seen someone smaller than Alicia. So, right, okay, so this is a question for Alicia.
Cheeky dig.
Right, okay then. So, question from Scott_NUFC. If you were offered 17th position right now, would you take it?
I'm gonna have to go yes, because it's keeping winning the league.
Well, I feel this one's going to be between us.
This
one's going round.
At the end, because at the end of the day, it's keeping winning the league, and that's what we've set out to do. And I think year on year build on that. We can't go in there and expect, what some pundits have been saying, that we're expecting Champions League football. At the moment, it's about staying in the league.
Are you happy, Sharky?
Shaking. He's
God.
either cold or he doesn't.
Oh, he's not happy, Sharky again. Right, I'll answer this, but we'll come at you last, because you need to calm down, son. Right, so
I think he's gone 20 minutes without drinking.
I know.
This is the problem.
Would you offer 17th position? Yes, because you would stay up, but I expect the club to have a minimum 15th upwards minimum. Well,
I mean, it's always close between 17th and 18th. But if you offered me 17th position and Rafa stays, I take it every single day of the week, because I can't complain about, because I'm not expecting us.
Would you take 17th position and Rafa walks?
Nope, not even a bit. And Rafa walks. Yeah. Well, this is the thing. It's like I wouldn't take anything and Rafa walks. Wouldn't take anything whatsoever, because the long-term future would be terrible without him. But and I don't really like to think about that. I have nightmares about it. But I mean, purely the aim is to stay in the league this season. I mean, me and you predicted that we'd finish 15th or something. Yeah. So so you're not even talking that much better. It would.
That's only going to be 3 to 4 points.
Exactly. Like, it will be, if we finish 17th, it would obviously be nervy, because that always goes quite close. But I do expect us to not scrape survival. Just like, by May, it looks like we are going to be there.
I have to disagree. I think 17th is very poor. I know it's staying in the Premier League, but I think at the end of the day, Rafa is not here for Newcastle to finish 17th. Rafa is a big manager with big aspirations, and yes, I have said a lot that Newcastle need to finish mid-table. If we can finish between 12th, maybe 13th, 14th, 15th, that'd be great. But I don't want Newcastle, like the last 2 or 3 seasons, to be, within a couple of games of fighting for Premier League survival, because I don't want to go through another season of the Championship. I really don't want that. I want Newcastle to consolidate themselves in the Premier League, to be a force and to try and build on what we've got. And the point I'm trying to make is, I think 17th place is very, very poor for Newcastle. I think for the stature of the club, for where it has and what has been, I think we need to be looking a bit higher than that. Yes, we've been in the Championship, I understand that. We haven't spent the money that other Premier League clubs have. They've got the financial power of the Premier League, we haven't. But again, we want to be, we want to be inspired by what we've got on the pitch. We want to score goals. We want to be happy with the results. And yes, I understand we're going to win a few games, we're going to lose a few games, and we're going to have a few disappointments along the way. But I think if we can finish mid-table, that's what we need to be aiming for. Mid-table, not a couple of games, or let's just try and beat a couple. That's my point.
Yeah, but it's also just so close. I mean, you can finish 17th, and because I think West Ham had an awful. I think everybody believes they had an awful season, but they finished 11th and 2 points off 8th. So it's always going to be close. So
Stoke started really poor last year, remember?
Exactly. So it's 17th. You might only be 3 points off where you think we should be finishing.
Yeah, I just think for Rafa as well, if we are struggling, say come Christmas, where say 14th, 15th in the league, if Rafa will want some money, there's no question about it. Rafa will be on to Mike Ashley to say, right, I want somebody to try and strengthen in this position, that position, whatever. For goals, we need a natural goal scorer, and if we are struggling, he will get that instantly. And if he doesn't, then whether he'll walk, that's a different matter. But for me, we need to be inspired by what's on the pitch. I don't want another relegation battle like we had under McLaren, like we've had under Pardew, Carver. And for the size of Newcastle United, we should not be associated with the bottom of the league. I'm sorry, and that's just my honest opinion on it.
I'm going to take Sharky at the GP tomorrow. Right, okay, I'm going to give you this question, Lisha, just for you, because the last 2 we've answered, we've been jumping on you. Do you think, this is from Ben12039, do you think Gale will turn up this season and perform? Assuming he stays injury fit, I guess.
Yeah, I have to agree. If he stays injury fit, then I don't see a reason why not, because fingers crossed we're getting another striker. That means you've then got more competition, and when there's competition they tend to have better form, so I'm pretty sure he's going to step up. He's already had Premier League experience, so I think he's definitely going to do it.
Champion. Right, Sharky. This is from John Joe Bolton 1. Do you think we'll sign anybody else, and who do you think our best player is?
Does he mean what current best players at the club?
Yeah.
my best player has to be either John Joe Shelvey or Matt Ritchie. If I was to pick one, I would probably say John Joe Shelvey, just for what he can offer. And signing more players, yes, I have alluded that we'll probably need maybe another striker and definitely another creative number 10 just to work alongside Shelvey to bring something to the team. And they're the sort of two key positions I think we need to look at the moment. And again, I think Rafa will get a couple of players in. It's just if and when between now and the end of when the transfer market closes.
Champion Will, I'm going to hand this one over to you because I'll answer the last one. So this is from Craig_Denholm. Do you think Mike Ashley has messed Rafa around with money, or is the transfer market just that crazy?
I think it's a bit of a mixture. I mean, the fees for players right now, like the going rate for anybody is huge. I mean,
10 million minimum for a player, isn't it?
Exactly. Like,
no cheap player anymore in the market.
You know, exactly. Like Bournemouth are spending more on millions than they've got 1,000 capacity. Like it's just unbelievable.
We've got more subscribers than their capacity, I think. Is it?
Yes. We nearly have. We could fill Bournemouth Stadium. Our fan base could fill Bournemouth Stadium.
11,000, isn't it?
Yeah.
4 or 5 times over.
Exactly. So it's gone completely crazy. I mean, I don't see any way that it's not going to. If the money's there, it's going to be spent. Has Rafa messed Rafa around?
Has Rafa messed Rafa around?
As Ashley messed Rafa around. There's so many A's. But it's I think something. There's been some kind of miscommunication that means that Rafa thought he had more than was available. I think Ashley. I mean, there was that whole thing in January, you know, that they didn't get the signing. So that's the doubt that plays in your mind, and that's why everyone thinks, because
he clearly wanted Townsend, didn't he?
Exactly, and he probably wanted another one as well. And whenever anyone has said that Newcastle get relegated this season, it's purely based on the fact that they think Rafa will walk by September.
Can I just expand on
just hold on, right? We still need to let you to calm down. I just don't think the money's there, because Ashley now knows how costly it is to do it the way that it was before, and he knows how important it is. You know, everything at this club the last year has been shaped around Rafa Benitez being here. He now knows, finally it took him 10 years, that, doing it this way is better. And while we've got this manager here, because I don't know how long he's going to be here.
Let your manager manage.
Yeah, let him do it his way, and I hope that Rafa installs a legacy, which means that when he does walk, the successor will be treated the same way and be able to give him the money that he wants, because Ashley has seen the cost of relegation twice now. He can't let it happen again, even just for him personally, because he's not going to be able to sell the club if they're relegated, and his worth will, because it costs him so much more money if we are relegated. I'll let Sharky answer.
Anyway, I just want to say that we've got to spend with them what means. I mean, again, we've just been promoted from the Championship. Teams like Middlesbrough and Sunderland can go and spend 30 million on this player, they can go and spend 30 million on that player. Newcastle have got to balance the books, and we're counting the cost of relegation. I mean, didn't we generate something like 7.1 million from the Championship?
Aye, no, that was it. Final question, friend of the channel, Lawrence Taylor, 6. So I seem to bump into any match, any match I got to Lawrence, you're there. We bumped at the middle of the street the other day. Under 23s, he's like freaking hell. The Dunstan game.
It scares me at times.
No, he's actually good. He's quite knowledgeable in football. Right, okay. So will Kennedy be? I'm going to answer this one. Will Kennedy be signed by 12p on Saturday so he can play for Sunday? Probably. I'm going to have to say probably not. Even if he was, would he start? Nah, because I think Rafa's got his team. Would he be even on the bench? Probably not, because you would think it would be Aarons and Murphy on the bench anyways, so I don't even think he'll have a place on the bench personally, but hopefully that answers your question. Right, I think we're done. We'll do the outros, where people can find you. If you've got personal Twitters or personal accounts as well, do mention them. So, Will, where can people find you?
Not my address. Not this. Well, on Twitter you can find me Dixon MP4. Obviously you can find me on Newcastle Fans TV if you want to see me on YouTube and see my face. You can also that's pretty much me.
I've been Alicia, and you can find me on Newcastle Fans TV and also on Alicia FC on YouTube.
So it's been Sharky. You can find me at 100% NUFC. Go and subscribe on YouTube, and also you can find me on Twitter and Instagram.
You can also find him in the big market. So, Yeah, so obviously I'm Lee, I present Newcastle Fans TV, blah blah blah, founder, blah blah blah. Right, so yeah, if you're watching, you're not watching, you're listening, sorry, on YouTube, if you can give this video a like, and if you want to be part of the podcast, give a shout. And if you're listening on iTunes, please hit that subscribe or link, whatever it's called, so the next time there's a podcast out, you get the first pick and you can listen to it straight away. And if you're listening on SoundCloud, please follow us as well. So on behalf of everyone here in the glorious big market starting to get dark, thank you very much for listening. We'll see you later. Bye bye.